So you're trading Fibonacci retracement levels, but you're having a few issues. For one thing, you don't know if you've picked the correct swing high or the correct swing low to draw the levels off to begin with. And after that, how do you know if it's going to bounce off the 38%, the 50%, the 61%, or maybe price is going to reverse altogether and you're going to end up on the wrong side of the trade? Well, I've got a way to avoid all this. It's called the Fibonacci Cheat Code. Welcome to Douglas on Trading. I'm about to show you the Fibonacci Cheat Code. This is what you've been missing when you're trading Fibonacci retracement levels. Any of you out there that are experienced in Fibonacci will know that sometimes it is difficult to know whether you should trade off the 38% level, the 50% level, the 61% level, or ignore those completely. What if the trend's reversing and it's going to just plow through those levels altogether? So I have a trick here. You're going to need another tool. It's not a cheap tool. It's called Bookmap. Now this is a market depth platform. That's not the only one that is available. There are multiple out there. This is the one I use. It's my favorite. And I'll just give you a very quick down and dirty overview of what we're going to be looking at here. But if you look over here at this colorful box, this is Bookmap, and what we're looking at is the ES order flow book. So this is where the traders are sitting waiting in the book. So these are the passive buyers and sellers. Okay, so it'll show you at each price level how many contracts are sitting there waiting to trade. Now, it doesn't mean they're gonna trade at that level. It just means that they are currently waiting at that level to trade. They could pull it, they could add more. There's all sorts of tricks and games people can play, but this is what we're looking at initially. So the red here is obviously the sellers, the blue is the buyers, and then the highlighted areas, the more highlighted they are, the more traders are there. So for example, this kind of orangish, darkish highlighted level is the most heavily, what would you say, it's got the most liquidity at the moment. It's 168 contracts sitting there. Below that, it's a little bit lighter color, 133 contracts. When you get into the black, you can see there's like 19 contracts, 23 contracts, etc. So you should be able to kind of understand what I'm talking about. Now let me show you why this is so important, especially when you're doing something like trading Fibonacci levels and you want to know, you want confirmation, basically, is what you want. You want confirmation. You don't want to just be trading in the dark. So Fibonacci levels is one step in doing that, but then Bookmap is taking it to a whole nother level. So let's play out a scenario here. This is the ES on the 15th of August, and currently it's sitting at 6:35, about 6:35. We've got the 5-minute chart up here because I know 5 minutes kind of common for what people trade, so that's what we're going to be looking at is the 5-minute chart. We're going to hit play here and you'll start seeing trades taking place here. So these little bubbles that pop up, this is just a visual representation of buyers and sellers that have actually executed in the market. Okay, so we're not going to be paying too much attention to these. Mostly we're going to be looking at buyers and sellers coming in, the passive ones that are coming in looking to hit a certain level to trade at. So let's get our Fibonacci level drawn here. So we're in NinjaTrader. We'll go to the Fibonacci extension tool. Well, the retracement tool is what we want. And I'm going to take it from, that didn't work. I'm going to take it from wick to wick. Now there's different theories. You should take it to close, wick to wick. Really doesn't matter. So we're going to take it to the wick up here. Like so. And so you'll see here, we started off at this wick down here and came up here. So the basics of Fibonacci is you're waiting for the price to retrace from this high down to the 38% level or the 50% level to try to catch a continuation of the trend upward. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. Now, some theory is that if it passes the 6180, then the trend is over and you might be looking for a different direction now. Now, one thing I've done, I've picked the 15th of August on purpose because it is not a strong trend day. This is a very big problem with Fibonacci, is if you're on a range day, it's a lot harder to use. It can be confusing about where to put your levels, if you should use the levels at all. So let's get into it and you will see what I am talking about. So right now the price is at the 38% level. And it is not hard to tell where all the traders are sitting. 28.48, there's 310. I mean, you can see these highlighted levels. I kind of call this, if there's enough of it, I call it fire because it kind of, it's bright like fire on the map. Now you got some levels below that. So a lot of times when you have two levels like this, it'll eat through one of these and then get caught by the second one. Now, one thing to know if you do use order flow or bookmap is these levels have two ways they can act. They are not crystal balls, so they can be kind of like magnets sucking price to them, or they can be like opposing magnets where it's pushing price away. Okay, and it's a poker game. This is what makes trading so hard, is trying to figure out what is going to happen. Are they going to suck price to them or push price away? But either way, you know where the levels of high activity are, which is just a huge advantage. And so right now you see we're coming down. This is the 28.48. 28.48 is very close to that 38% level. It ate through that. And so now you might be looking for 28.46, which is still going to be around that 38% level. So let's see, 28.40 is the next one after that, and that is towards the 50% level. So now we just need some sort of confirmation. But you have support in the book for at least one of these levels. We'll speed this up just a little bit so you don't have to sit here all day. As you can see, there was no temptation to go long here at the 38%. Price didn't give you any reason to do that. But now you've had more guys come in here at 28.41. You've got more guys coming in at 28.43. It looks like they're supporting this area. You got more guys piling in. You're still at the 38% level, so maybe now's the time you want to buy. This could be what you consider confirmation. And if you do pull the trigger there, one thing you know is you've got a lot of support. You can still lose. Some seller could come in and push through all of this. But it's going to give you a lot better feeling when you have these many guys backing you up that also want to trade at that level. So we'll keep speeding it up here. Let's see if this will play out. And if you went long, these are all your friends, and as you can see, your friends backed you up. And now you just have to keep waiting, keep holding. But, I mean, what better signal could you have that the 38% level might be the level that you want to trade than that right there? It came back, it's scary, but your friends are still here, still supporting the level. Let's push this forward. You can see them popping in and out, and trying to push price in one direction or another. It's the games that get played in the book. At 15 times speed, it's pretty impossible to read, but you can kind of see what's going on. Price bounces around, and then eventually we top this top here. So we had these sellers come in, and this is kind of what I'm talking about, where people can come in and then they can still act like as kind of like a springboard a little bit. So your poker game right now is trying to decide is if this level is going to be the end of the move and whether you should get out or whether it's going to be the springboard to go higher. And in this case, it just happens to be the springboard. And so there it goes. And that happened because you had all these traders that wanted to trade here. Now those sellers lost and they got ran over. But that's why the price moved so quickly and you got this big bar here. So Bookmap is it's just magic for things like that. So let's move forward to the next play here. So we move our retracement up here to the new swing high. And we'll have to speed this up to get to the next point of interest. You can see the sellers are kind of pushing in, pushing in. You got the buyers trying to hold up. But we know that the sellers eventually lose because this is a replay, or the buyers. So the sellers came in, more sellers came in. And they're pushing price down. So if you remember, we moved the Fibonacci up. So this, what's now this 50% level, 38% was a little bit closer to it earlier. 38% was about here. But now 38% is up here, 50% is down here. So once again, you're going to have to wonder, well, is it going to play the 38%? Is it going to play the 50%? That's the game. So let's keep pushing this forward. You've got a whole lot of sellers sitting in the book right now. This little last gasp of the buyers are doing their best, but they get beat. Retrace down. Speed it up even more here. And once again, the buyers try but there's just too much selling right there. You can see that huge block that came in. So now what I tell you is about this day ends up kind of ranging out. So it gets a lot more difficult to start picking Fibonacci retracements or anything really. And one way you can see that we might be in a sort of ranging situation is because these battles are going on back and forth so much on each side. Now we're at that 38% level, so if you're a Fibonacci guy, you're looking for a play long again here. This support actually held up this time down here, pushed price a little bit higher. We don't know if that's going to continue or if they're going to get beat. But one thing you might decide here is that you just don't want to play. Because even if these guys push up, these sellers, there's enough of them here, they might push down. But again, it's a poker game, so if you're playing that Fibonacci long, maybe what you're hoping for is that these sellers will turn into that catapult again. And they actually moved out of the way right there. They moved out of the way before price even got there. But then more came in afterwards. So the battle continues. So 2847. 2847 was down here. We never got down to that level. 38% would have been good for at least a scalp. And then you've got this big block at 2863. So if anything, you know that this might be as high as it gets, 2863. But you can see the sellers piled in right there. I mean, that was obvious. And that's what I mean by you could kind of tell that this was going to be a battle before it even began. It told you that maybe you weren't going to get big moves. So maybe your strategy there could have been just to try to scalp out. You know, you scalp on this side before it gets to this side, or vice versa. You scalp on this side. Once you get back to this side, then you get out just to be safe. I mean, it could break through here. It could drop like a stone. But you have this visualization to let you know that if it does bounce up, you know what happened to you. So we're still bouncing around that 38%. This level's been holding. Let's speed it up. You got this big group up here that you probably want to go retest at some point with the with price. So right now this is kind of acting more like the magnet, but then it gets up and pushes it away. You got buyers trying to push through. You can see them popping in and out. This is at 8 times speed, by the way, so there's a lot of information to take in a very short period of time. But you can see where the main group is still. I mean, it's dead obvious that the sellers are still really strong up here. Buyers got a little more aggressive, trying to push through this group. And then I called 2863 as the potential of the height of where you would get to. I don't remember if the price gets up there or not. those sellers got aggressive as soon as price came up. And that's why you're bouncing around like this. But there you go. Make another run at it. And I think that's all she wrote. So you can see that was a really good target to go for, 28.63. Now let's get to the next point of interest. So I hope you see how that could have helped you. I mean, like I said, this is no crystal ball. You don't know who's going to win the battle, you know? But you know there's a battle. And that's, as G.I. Joe would say, half the battle. Knowing's half the battle, right? So now we're at 30 times speed. We're trying to catch this up to the next point of interest. Oops. And that doesn't happen till 8:40. So we've got some time. So let's get this even faster. We'll get up to about 8:40. Oops. Another thing I left out is a lot of times Bookmap can help you determine where that trend reversal is going to happen. I mean, you saw, if we go back a little bit, you saw how many guys were here, how many sellers were here compared to buyers. And the fact that it comes up, does its business, and then pretty much there's nobody hanging around anymore to trade up there anymore. You know, that can be a sign that that trend is over. And that you're looking to come down. All right, we better slow this a little bit. Don't break on me, Bookmap. Where'd you go? Ooh. No, this is kind of an ugly look. It's pretty even on both sides. Let's get in there. There we go. That's better. Price bounces around. So we did come back to the 50% while I was on like 100 times speed. So that 50% bounced kind of around, oh, it bounced in this level where these happy boys all jumped in. Okay, so now you know the 50% might come into play. You've got plenty of friends to back you up. It's a matter of being patient, picking your spot, seeing how much risk you want to take. But we're only at 2 times speed here, and we had the market open was one thing that happened. That's why there was so much activity back there a second ago. All right, so we're at the 50% level. You don't know if that's going to hold. You don't know if you should wait for 50%, if this trend is over, if we're going to go to 61%. Don't know. But you got some boys to back you up right at the 50%. After that, there's nothing. There's nobody. Nobody to trade down here. I mean, there's traders, but comparatively to the rest of the book, there's not much going on down there. So here's the big block. Easy to see. So we push past the 50. We're not down to the 61. We're still in your block of friends if you are thinking long. And then we'll let you see how this sets up here. Because I think at around 840 is when this starts moving up. Tore your friends apart. There's still nowhere to go. Nobody's down there. Buyers come back in. We got the 61.80 now. There's been no sign on the price chart to go long. And so here's where you could make a mistake. So 61.80, the theory goes, if it breaks through that, maybe the trend is over and price is going to continue down. Well, if you saw that pop in, what would you do? If you saw them get beat and push through and then they come back for reinforcements, are you going to take a short here? Probably wouldn't take a long here either. You got plenty of sellers, but if these guys get beat, and of course we know the future, so we know they do. But there you go. So they got beat. This is what's called flipping the book. So these guys got beat, and at the same time, buyers popped in with a vengeance at 635 contracts. Your price bar is even looking good. So that was actually a really good look. And they come back in. Didn't hold up there at all, though. Let's see. There it goes. So let's speed this up. Now that the interesting thing happened. There you go. 649 pop in up here. 557. And then there goes price. Oh, shit. Took its time. There it goes. Took its time, but you could see, I mean, and you still got all this stuff down here that is just crushing it up. So where's the next point of interest on this thing? Is that all the higher it gets to is 28.57? Oh yeah, so we still got some room to run up here. So let's see what happens at 28.57. Because that's when it pushes back down. Then we'll look at one more spot. It comes back to the 61% again and goes up again at 10.20. So price continues to be pushed up. There continues to be strong support down here. That this is what pushed it up to begin with. So let's see what pushes it down. We just had some sellers come in on the blocks, so buyers make a hell of an effort there. Sellers come back with a vengeance. Look at that. Look at that. But we know it bounces around in here for a while. So we've got till about 10 o'clock till we're interested again. So let's speed that up quite a bit. Now hopefully you can see that you don't want to go long into this. And if you are in the trade, excuse me, if you took this trade at any point through here, if you took a long, hopefully you can see that not only do you not want to go long into this mess, but that maybe you should start taking profits. That this could be it. All right, let's speed it up even more. Let's get to 10 o'clock for the last fun play here. No, that doesn't happen until 10:20. All right, bear with me a minute. We'll get up to 10:20 here. All right, so this is going to be the last example for the day. And let's see what happens here. So we've had some fun with Fibonacci. You know, the first thing that happened is it came to the 30. I mean, it came kind of halfway in between the 38 and the 50 at this top here. Then we moved it to match this top here. It bounced off the 38%. Then it came back, went through everything, and bounced off the 61%. Now we're coming back. We're going to bounce off the 61% again. But if you were trading blind, if you didn't have Bookmap, it's hard to know which one of these levels it ever would have attacked. So now we're at the 61%. Let's see if this gives us any kind of... I have not reviewed the Bookmap before this video. So you're kind of seeing the information pop up at the same time that I am. I knew what's... I mean, I reviewed the price chart. I knew that this is the one that I wanted to cover, but I didn't know what the Bookmap was going to show. All right, so we come back down. We're in the 61%. We match this low here. And let's see if we get any kind of clear signal through this guy. We've got kind of this warning signal up here at 28.42. That's not too high, so that is concerning if you were thinking about taking this level. Something you'd have to consider. You've got some buyers popping in here. You've matched this low, and you're at the 61%. Or 61.80 if you want to be exact. Now I should tell you, the Bookmap doesn't always give you clear signals. We had some really good ones earlier. Sometimes, you know, trading is trading. Sometimes shit just happens. And that's just the way it goes. That might be the way it happens here. Speed this up. Let's see if anything happens so we can get moving with our lives. So we're at 3 times speed. Now that was a more difficult play, and that's kind of more an advanced order flow play. So if you're at, I mean, if you wanted to trade these levels, and it's a hell of a level. 1, it traded here before, and 2, it matched this low perfectly. But you had a little bit of concern up here with, if you're watching the order flow, with the amount of sellers that were here. But as price started going up, those sellers moved. They didn't want any part of this play. They got out of it before price came to get them. So they were worried, basically, that they're on the wrong side. Now they can always come back with reinforcements. But considering where we're at down here, and the fact that we've got at least a little bit of support here, that could definitely be a good place to take your shot. Just push it. Let's see if we get anything more obvious like earlier. And you got a little bit. You at least never got scared that you were on the wrong side of the trade. I mean, you've got this darkness pops in, or highlights. So let's keep pushing this forward. Get a whole lot of sellers come in there. And let's push this forward even more. We're up to 15 times speed now. Buyers never move. They're pretty rock solid down here. Sellers are trying their best. Buyers look like they're getting even more bold. There you go. That's some bold moves right there. Enough to at least push it up a little bit further. Oh shit. Then you get 1221. So I was going to stop the video. Let's see what happens with that 1221 in there, because that's a big number. That's an obvious number. Let's see how that plays out. I'm thinking it's going to at least want to go test that level with that amount of traders. I'm pretty sure it does. Where does that get to? 2851? Does it get up there? Yeah, it does. Let's see what happens with that level. 2851. I think what happens, judging by the trading view chart that I just looked at, I think what happens is it comes up, buyers give it all they got to push through here, then they exhaust out. So I think they eat this level up and then they die. But this should be a fun one to see. You should definitely be concerned if you're long. I'll just say that. go. Get up there. Yeah. So the buyers take them. They push a decent amount higher there. So you got 28.50. You got 5 more points out of it, so that's a hell of a catapult there. If you go back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, it can be rejection or a launching pad. It was a launching pad for that one. But that's pretty much all she wrote after that for the buyers. If you can see, that's when it comes in. I mean, so that was kind of like their last ditch effort, basically. They pushed up through all those sellers, and then they get up back to this level here and kind of exhaust out, and then price crashes. So that is fun with Bookmap, man. I'm telling you what, it is going to help your Fibonacci levels. In fact, once you start paying attention to these levels, you might not even want to look at Fibonacci levels. That's just me. But for sure, if Fibonacci is what you like and it helps you, man, Bookmap can only add fuel to the fire there with that. So that's it for the video. If you want more videos like this, please let me know. If you like the video, of course, please hit like. I'll have a link to Bookmap in the description. And thanks for watching, guys.